Hi, it's Brenda again. So first, I have to say, when I decided to make time for YouTube videos again, I never intended to even touch the Summer Wells case because it was far too involved for me to jump back into YouTube and even take that on. But when I made that video about Dawn's groupies, I I had to have my say. Like I had to say something. And from that point on, I just can't stop apparently. It's like verbal diarrhea because once I let the words out of my mouth, I just feel like I can't stop. There's just so much that I need to say. Right now, the main thing that is on my mind is one, the phone call between Dawn and his sister Mary, and two, Dawn's so called advocacy group. I just can't. So, first, his sister Mary, or his stepsister Mary, and I hate saying stepsister, okay? Like you're sister and brother, or you're not, but technically his stepsister. So he has this phone call with her, and some people said, well, why was she taping the calls? Because there's been a lot of that, whether he was talking to Trish or Tish, is it Trish? Or Mary, whatever. Well, first of all, there is a missing child. So I don't think that it's unreasonable that they are taping phone calls, especially if they have a suspicion against a certain person. So she has this phone call with Dawn, and apparently Mary is warning him or giving him a heads up that Jeannie is going to file charges on him. And this phone call, the fact that there is any person who has heard it that can still defend him in any way actually makes me want to slam my face off the table. Like, I'm not even joking. He is so vile in this phone call. Number one, he adamantly continues to go on about how, in this phone call, he didn't call it a relationship like he did when he was interviewed by the interview room. Oh, no, 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 no. In this phone call, he says they were playing house. She's 5 and he's 12. And then he's 13 and she's 6 and he's 14 and she's 7. You get the picture because this went on for a long time. But he goes even further and he says that he was actually the victim. Poor Donald. He was seduced by a 5-year-old. I kid you not. You can listen to it. I'll try to drop it in the comments if I can get it. If not, you can go to the interview room and you can get it from their page. He was the victim. 5-year-old. For the groupies that still want to say it was 30 years ago. Not relevant. He goes on to say, I was just a kid and she started it and we were just playing house, that she's evil, she's ruining his life now over something that happened when they were just kids. You do remember that when he got out of prison at 19, he went back and attempted to do it again, but she told her parents. So at 19, I guess he still wanted to play house. I don't know. But what really bothered me in this phone call was poor Mary. Like, if I could hug this woman, I would. So she, at some point in the phone call, starts to talk a little bit about the incident that happened, if you're familiar with it, where Donald and 2 of his friends attempt to disrobe her. First, he starts off by like, oh, thank goodness I was there. Do you remember? Do you remember how I tried to help you? When he realizes that she actually has a very vivid memory of the events and that he can't persuade her to remember it differently, he flips the script and pretends like he never said that. And then he's like, yeah, like, oh no, like I don't really remember. And as she continues to press him hesitantly, like you can hear how difficult this is for her. Then he's like, you know what? We were just kids, let it go. It was so long ago. Like, psh. He goes on telling her about how Jeannie is evil because that's 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 my dog. He's knocking toys off my son's train table. So he goes on saying this to her, if Jeannie really loved Summer, and this is verbatim, she wouldn't want to hurt Summer's dad. Mary says, and I've thought about it that way, Dawn. And my soul left my body, went on the floor, and was crushed. Because in that moment, it was like she was still his victim. You could see it. His manipulation was still working on her. Even with the support of, maybe some family, I'm not sure the dynamics there, but some online support. I know Chris from the interview room has been really supportive of her. You could still feel that she was still so easily manipulated by this man. And I started to really think about it, and I thought, you know what? I really went off on Dawn's groupies, right? Like no sir. I can't even say this. I can't even say the breed of my own dog. Whiner-Rhymer. He's like, this big, adorable, dopey face. So I was thinking about this and I was like, and I still am, don't get me wrong, like completely livid. How could any women stand behind him and talk about, it was so long ago, these women need to let it go, blah, blah, blah. I even read like one comment, like, it was so long ago, who cares what he did 40 years ago? Like, they shouldn't be doing this to him now. She should have said something then, not while his daughter is missing. Like, I'm really sorry if his victims coming forward is really inconveniencing him, like it's a really bad time for him. It's probably a really bad time for them too when they were being abused, but like, I don't know. But then I thought, okay, so it's one of two things. Either one, these people, and I say women mostly just because, I don't know, I guess as a woman, I feel like how the heck can you defend him? But either one, they've never in their entire life been abused, and like, I'm very, very, very happy for you. And I mean that sincerely, because 1 out of 4 women or girls will be abused that way before they're like 18 years old. So if you haven't, that is wonderful. And they apparently have never had a friend, a family member, anybody who's been abused and they've seen the effects of it. So that's wonderful. Wow, statistically, you're doing great. Or they were abused in that way. And like Mary, they're still easily manipulated because of it. Because let's face it, women, we're going to say, because his victims were women, girls, now women that have been abused in that way, even if they get help, even if on a logical front, they know that it's not their fault. I think psychologically, there's still that part of them, I think, that still struggles with, I want to say this delicately because I'm trying to be really compassionate, okay? I'm not trying to say this in a bad way. I think that there's still that part of them that still holds that feeling of I'm really picking my words carefully because anybody who has been a victim of SA, I don't want it to come off differently than what I mean, because these women are clearly warriors, right? They get through it, and they're functioning, because you would just think that their entire psyche would just shatter. So the fact that they're still standing is incredibly brave and strong and admirable. But there's got to be, for some, that part of them that still carries the weight of that, the shame of that, the, the less than feeling, the easily manipulated feeling. Because we see that play out with Mary. And Mary, you are like the sweetest woman ever. Like, I want to be your friend. I want to hug you. I want to like have coffee with you and tell you that you are amazing. But I hear it in her voice. I hear how she starts off strong in that conversation. She's going to confront him. She's going to talk about it. And then you see her just wilt away as the conversation goes on, as he manipulates her through that conversation, until I hear those words come out of her like little mouth. And she's just like, oh, Donald, I never really thought about it that way. Stop. Like, he is playing you. He's playing you. He knows how to make you feel bad, how to back you off, like how to silence you. I mean, he did it for how many years? So there's that. So that made me start to think, like, maybe some of the women that are defending him were victims, and that's why he's so easily able to manipulate them, because he's like a professional at it. I mean, it's disgusting. Or, like I said, they just are completely oblivious to what these victims have gone through. So you need to listen to that conversation. It's gross. Like, you'll actually probably just want to vomit all over yourself, as he talks about how they're ruining his life, they're evil, and they were just playing house, and she just, it's a long time ago. We were just kids. Like, it's almost unbearable. It's almost unbearable. I wanted to like pick something up and like huck it at my TV. Put it this way, like, I've not been in a physical confrontation since like 4th grade, and that was like 300 years ago. I want to fist fight Donald. Like, seriously. I like, on the front lawn, I just want to like fist fight him. Really, honestly, because hearing those words come out of his mouth, they were playing house. Okay. So there's that. So then somehow I'm scrolling, I'm reading, I'm in all of, the Summer Wells Facebook groups, and I'm like making myself crazy and reading all this stuff. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. I come across, somebody has screenshotted this leaked staff meeting from Donald Wells advocacy group. They're called like We Bring You Hope or something. There's no hope to be given after hearing the staff meeting. I'm like, my mouth actually like hit the floor. Like, I'm sitting there, I'm listening to it. I guess this is how I listen to things, I guess. I did actually stare at the phone, even though you're only listening to it. So this woman, Michelle Lynn, who I guess owns it, runs it, whatever, she's leading the staff meeting. Right off the bat, I'm floored, because she's talking about how busy they are, how big this case is, how it's monopolizing all of their time. Fine, great. Like, it's monopolizing mine too, because I've actually become obsessed with it. But then she says, I mean, this is like paraphrased, but the end of it is exact. This is just too much, like dealing with all this summer shit. I was like, what? Did this advocate really just call the missing 5-year-old that could be dead, could be being like tortured somewhere on a daily basis, summer shit? I don't know. I must be on like a violence spree, because at first I wanted to break the TV, and then at this point I wanted to like throw my phone and just smash it off the wall. I was like so irate. At the end of the conversation, I don't even think she thinks Dawn's innocent just from the way she talks about him. At the end of the conversation, she basically says like, "Oh gosh, I hope Dawn doesn't get killed or we'll never find Summer." And everything in between was just as gross. So I went to their Facebook page because I thought this cannot be a real company or like a real thing. So I went to their Facebook page and it is. And it's like this lovey, like pictures of all these missing kids and tagging whoever it is and their families and whatever. And, praying for this one and praying for that one. And we're seeking to find this one. And you would think these people were like disciples of God. Okay. They're like so wonderful. So I find this Summer, because it's all over. So I find this Summer status that she put up, pictures of Summer, and she tags Dawn Wells and praying with Dawn Wells. And I can't help myself, and I'm not one to like stir the pot ever. I can't help it. My fingers just like on their own started like typing. It was like demonic. And I was just like, "Oh, are you praying? Are you praying?" Because I'm confused because I thought it was just Summer shit. And I put it in like quotations. And, then I said, does Don know? Because, he's tagged in it. "Oh, does Don know that you're hoping he doesn't die? Because then you'll never find Summer." What else did I say? "Oh, I hope that my child never goes missing because I would hate to think that my advocate would be bitching so much as you do if they had to find my child." And then I just like went to bed. I'm like, what did I just do? So this morning I wake up, she deleted it and took down, somehow they must have found out where, who or how or where the recording was because she deleted that too. But a bunch of people had already screenshotted it or screen recorded it, so it's still out there. Maybe if I can find that, maybe I'll put that in the comments too. Probably do those tomorrow though, because it's getting really late. But I will. I'll try to put that down there. So all of that has me like completely insane today because apparently now every day I'm actually insane because of this case. I don't know. In the beginning, I thought people that were talking about human trafficking were bonkers. I just thought, well, that's like really trending right now. Like everything's about human trafficking. So I just thought, come on now. It was something completely else, whether the parents did something or they didn't, or it was an accident or whatever, but like she wasn't human trafficked. Now I'm starting to think that's an actual thing. I'm actually starting to believe that she might have been, and maybe by those really close to her, not the boogeyman that showed up in the night and took her. I don't know. So tell me what you think. Tell me what your theories are. I don't know. Tell me if you were listening to the phone call between Dawn and Mary and if you heard how despicable he was and how he tried to say that he was. I am not even joking. He said that he was the victim. She initiated. He was the victim. I was just a kid too. I mean, she's the one that started it. She did this to me. She did that to me. I can't even bring the words out of my mouth of what he said she did. And I don't know where she learned that, but like I was a victim. I was just a kid. I have a 5-year-old son. And if this wasn't so serious, I would actually be probably giggling as I was like trying to picture him walking around like seducing people. Because literally, that's what you're saying. You're saying that a 5-year-old, 5, on the earth for 5 years, seduced you, and what her Jezebel ways, her scarlet letter self just was so powerful you couldn't say no to her. 5-year-old. My 5-year-old still wears pull-ups to sleep, so is that 5? I don't know. So tell me what you think about the phone call. If you've heard about these advocacy people, apparently are really annoyed about having to find the missing 5-year-old despite their Facebook page that makes them look like saints. because, yeah, she referred to it as all this summer shit, and bitched through the whole entire staff meeting. This case gets weirder by the day, literally weirder by the day. And like I really talk with my hands a lot. I think it's a northern thing. It's like I'm doing like sign language when I talk. And hopefully you didn't notice how disgustingly dirty my fingernails are. But I came in from feeding my pigs because we have pigs. But I have this one pig who, when we first got her, we thought that she was a potbelly pig. And as she started to get bigger, like her nose got like super weirdly long, like an anteater. And my husband's like, because my husband like hunts wild boar. So he's like looking at it and he's like, you guys know that that's not a potbelly pig, right? That's a wild boar. I'm like, no, it's not. It is. Apparently, the people that had it fed it, like bottle fed it as a baby. And as it got bigger, they just got rid of it. So we took it and it's wild boar. And I was having my floors done and I let the pigs out for a while and the workers were standing outside like doing some stuff and he looks over, he goes, is that a wild boar? I'm like, it's a boar. It's not wild clearly because it sits on command and it gives me kisses. When I say kisses, she gives kisses. And she's very, very sweet. Her name is Petunia. She's just like a little dog. She's so sweet. But when people like come over and watch her like following me around, they look at me like I'm mental because now that she's big, she's like full grown. I can completely tell this is not like a pig, like a potbelly pig, like the movie Babe. This is what you would find out like at the state parks where, they come out at night and run around and make loud noises and attack you, but she won't because she's super sweet. So hopefully you didn't notice how grungy my fingernails are, but it's not a clean job to clean out a pig pen and feed them and stuff. So, okay, talk to you soon. Please let me know. Please let me know what you think about the phone call. If it's as vile to you as it is to me, and check out this advocacy people. Gosh, I hope I can get a copy of that staff meeting because you will just be like, ew, ew. It just makes you think how fake people are. Because when you look at their Facebook page, like you just be like so heartwarming. Like, oh my gosh, these people like, they find missing children and they're so wonderful. And like listen to the recording. I'm like, you're not even a nice person. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the woman, but I didn't get the impression that you were a very nice person, Michelle. And plus, you deleted my comment. You could have responded. You could have said, oh my gosh, you took it out of context. What I meant was blah, 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 blah. But you deleted it. So now you look even more guilty to me. Guilty of being unkind to a missing child. Okay. Bye. Good night.